Hey viewers, my name's Cara. Just wanted to record a quick intro clip. The vlog you are about to see was recorded a handful of days ago now. I thought I was going to be able to get it uploaded the same day, but I ended up being a lot busier that day. I had a very full schedule over the weekend. So you're seeing this a little bit after the fact. The event that I'm talking about in this vlog has already passed, and so I'm going to do an additional vlog to share with you about my whole experience now that it has finished, but I still want to show you the vlog that I recorded the first day in the middle of the moment. So enjoy that. Hey viewers, my name's Cara, or Karamia. My pronouns are they and she. I am still coming to you from the Sonoran Desert, Oodom lands, here in the southwestern US, where I am living this year. I'm from the Northeast originally. So I have not posted a video on this channel in a couple of months now because life happened, brain stuff happens, executive dysfunction happens. But I am coming to you today because I want to talk about what I'm doing this weekend. This weekend I am attending the online WorldWide Witch Camp, which is something that happens in Reclaiming tradition. That is my tradition of witchcraft. So for those of you who have been around the channel for a while, you've probably heard me talk about this tradition before. For those of you who might be joining because I might be sharing this with the WorldWide Camp group, hi, welcome. This is my channel. I go by Cara here. If you do know me either from this camp or just from Reclaiming in general, you probably know me by another name because I do use a magical name in Reclaiming space. But outside of that space, I don't use that name here, so you can call me Cara or Karamia as long as we are here in this online space. But I've talked about Reclaiming a few times on my channel, so people who have been around for a while will know. And if you're new here, feel free to subscribe so you don't miss anything else. Like this video so that YouTube knows that you like it, all that stuff. And I also have a second channel now that is linked in my channels tab here, but it's at Karamia Witch. And I'm going to do some different types of things over there, some games that I like to play, stuff like that. That is a very new channel. I just started it like this past month. It has like 2 videos on it. But I've been making videos here on this channel for over a decade, so people have heard me talk about my journey in modern paganism and witchcraft over the years. And so people know, and for those of you who don't, I'll tell you now briefly. I started out as a solitary, very self-taught, book-taught witch, and I would say that my journey with Reclaiming really began in 2012 when I first read The Spiral Dance by Starhawk after it had been recommended to me by some other friends years before that. But I wasn't ready for it at the time. It took me like 4 or 5 years to get around to actually reading it after I had heard of it. And then I read and worked through the 12 Wild Swans book by Starhawk and Hilary Valentine on my own in 2013. And that book is formatted to be like a book version of a witch camp format, in the sense that a camp typically has different paths that we take throughout the course of camp, the different classes that we take. And the book has 3 paths, and you can work them one at a time or overlapping in succession, whatever you want to do. And I've worked through that book now multiple times. But the first time I did it in 2013, because it was modeled after a witch camp format, that sort of inspired me to look into maybe actually attending a witch camp. And I attended my first camp in person in 2015. And I don't say the names of the camps here on my YouTube channel either for privacy reasons. I don't tend to say specific names of locations, so I might just say like my local group or my regional camp. But there are camps all around the world for those who don't know. And so my first one that I attended in person was in 2015, and I sort of count my involvement in the community part of Reclaiming, like actually interacting with other people who are part of this tradition, from that year. And this camp is unique in that it is the first one being done worldwide with offerings 24/7 throughout this weekend, so that people in all time zones can participate in something. And we have some overlapping things. So there are times that work for people in the United States and Europe, and there are times that work for Europe and Australia, and there are times that work for Australia and the United States. and and everything in between and all throughout. And this is also a weekend intensive online camp. It's happening over the course of 3 days or 4 days, depending on how your time zone makes it work out. I have attended a couple of witch camps in person. So I've attended 2 different camps, but I've been to in-person camp 3 times, the past 2 years and then 2015. And those were all in the traditional 1 week long format where we actually travel there, we go to camp for a week and we hang out with a bunch of witches and we do magic together. And I have some vlogs from my first experience going to camp in 2015. I'll link to that at the end of this video if anybody wants to go back and watch that from some years back. But other times, classes might be once a week over the course of 6 weeks or over the course of 8 weeks, or you might have a weekend intensive class where you go take a class over the course of a 3-day weekend, Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday, Friday evening to Sunday morning. And the online camps that I've attended since 2020, like my regional camp, had been doing some online versions, and those were sort of a loose-ish schedule over the course of 3 to 4 weeks so that people didn't have to completely change their daily schedule in order to participate in it. So that one was also like a different sort of schedule in linear time. And this one really stands out differently because it's the first time I'm experiencing a whole camp format in a weekend intensive format. And like I said, it's all around the world. So I originally wanted to apply to be on the ritual team or teach a path for this camp, but procrastination is a thing, so I didn't end up applying. But I knew I wanted to attend. I knew I wanted to witness this because I think it's so cool that the organizers from all around the world, different communities around the world, decided to put this together. I think it's a really awesome idea, and I'm so excited to see it coming to fruition, and I hope that we do it again. And so I didn't end up applying to have a bigger role, but then it turns out they're using Discord, which I have a Discord for my Patreon community for people who support my videos via Patreon. We have a Patreon community server. So I've been using Discord for a while, and then I found out that this camp is using that, and they were looking for moderators for some of the channels, and I thought, cool, I have Discord skills, and I can put them in service to community because I know that so many people are brand new to Discord. And this is also the biggest Discord server that I personally have been in, as far as the number of people who are actually actively talking in it. I've been in a couple that have a lot of members, but most people are not actively posting, so it feels like a smaller group. It's a little more manageable. This group is over 100 people, and most of us are posting because it's only for a weekend. It's a really short container, so it's very exciting, and I'm so grateful to be able to offer those skills that I've picked up over the last several years playing around on Discord with other things to help people in my tradition and in this camp learn a new thing, because learning a new thing is hard, learning a tech thing is hard, and it's very overwhelming with so many people in there. So I'm really glad that that opportunity arose for some of us campers to jump in and volunteer to help out with that kind of thing, to help things run a little more smoothly, because again, it's kind of 24/7 for the 3 days all around the world, so there's always going to be somebody available to answer people's questions, to help out, to just sit and chat with you if that's what you want. And I'm very excited. So I'm recording this now in the afternoon in my time zone, after I've done my morning path, which was lovely, and then ritual is in about another hour from the time that I'm recording this, and then I'm also taking an evening path. Now, usually when we do an in-person camp, usually, not always, but usually the paths are all at the same time, and so you pick one. And in this case, because there are 3 different path time slots throughout the day, depending on your time zone and your own schedule and capacity for being awake and being on Zoom, you could potentially do more than one. And so I'm doing one in my morning and one in my evening, and then the other one happens in the middle of the night for me, which, because I'm an insomniac, would actually be an easier time slot for me than the morning one is, but because I can't sleep at night, so I usually end up sleeping in. So my sleep schedule is just different. It's just different than most people's.
or like unless you work third shift. I basically have like a third shift sleep schedule, but for this I really wanted to do one of the paths that's being offered in my morning. So I am taking measures to make sure that I can try to sleep earlier so that I wake up more rested and I'm not too bleary-eyed and tired. So I rolled out of bed this morning, I went and made my tea, got some breakfast, sat down, turned off my camera to eat so people don't have to watch me eat my breakfast. But yeah, so I'm doing 2 paths. One of the paths that I'm doing is with teachers that I have not gotten an opportunity to work with before, which is also a very exciting thing for me, getting to work with people online from all over. I get to work with teachers I've never worked with. There are fellow pathies who I probably otherwise would never have gotten to meet because we're from all over the place. And I don't know about you, but I cannot just be traveling internationally all the time, although I would love to meet and hang out and do magic with these wonderful people. So the internet, while it is a privilege in itself, when we are able to have access to the internet, it is awesome that it then also opens up access in these other ways, because there are so many reasons that people might not be able to attend something in person. So I'm so jazzed about this format. And then the other path I'm taking is with 2 teachers who I have met in person before, one of whom I have not seen in years and one I've worked with over the past 2 years. So I just picked a couple of paths that seemed the most like they're calling to me right now. There's so many good options to take, and yeah. So my camera is almost out of storage space because I have other videos on here that I need to transfer, so it's gonna cut me off in a minute. So I want to just wrap this up now, but I wanted to come on and say that's what I'm doing this weekend, and I am so excited about it, and it's just like a really great infusion of energy, and I'm learning so much already about like other ways that we can be more accessible to other people's needs, and just being mindful of other just ways of being, you know, other people's lives and experiences. And this is only the beginning, you know. We're only some few hours into it, basically. We haven't even had our first ritual yet. That's going to happen in about an hour. We have ritual together every day, and then the different paths where we'll be with different people. And then we have affinity group time where we'll meet with a small group that we'll get to know over the weekend even more. And then we have the Discord space where we can talk as well. Like, so a lot of us have already been connecting over the past week leading up to this, and now here we are in the weekend, and it's just like, it's already so beautiful and nourishing and magical and wonderful and expansive, and it is just beginning. I'm going to leave you with that. Thank you so much for watching and or listening. I will see you next time. Some of you I'll see in an hour online. Until then, don't forget to be awesome, blessed be, and goodbye.